guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, we'll be covering part 2 to the story I covered earlier, and where things left off, our guy was making a horrible decision to throw everything he had, the opportunities away for some girl, move to where she wanted him to live, and he's living in this dump of a city with crime and all that, and his awful residence, and it's a big freaking mess. But it's going to get worse where it gets better, but in the end, things will improve for our guy. He does wake up and have the last laugh. So continuing on with his wonderful living accommodations, he says here, well, the longer I stayed, the worse things got. But I had no choice but to stay. Yes, you had a choice. You could just say this, I'm out of here. This is not working. It's not like you were taking long-term leases. They were probably running by the freaking week. It was either this place or essentially living in my car. After about 1 month, I had the option to just move back from where I came from. It did not seem worth it. When I brought up to Sophia, she told me that she waited so long for me to move and did not want to see me go. She did give me some attitude, even though I told her that she was more than welcome to visit me back home. Eventually, I decided to just stay. Smack! He had an opportunity, and Pat missed it again. The living situation was getting worse and worse, and at one point, the man I shared a bathroom with started accusing me of not doing my part to keep the bathroom clean, as well as other common areas, that type of thing. So you know you're in a cheap, crappy residence. You don't even own a bathroom. I myself am a very clean person and realized he was just wanting me to be his maid. He would be extremely dirty, would piss on the toilet and toilet seat, oftentimes not even flush the toilet after use, and the floor was filled with his hair. Well, sounds like a shithole. When I confronted him, he accused me of being the dirty one. A lot went on, but since this was not the main part of the story, I will make it short. One reason I'm writing this is just to show how bad my quality of life was going to be with Sophia and the sacrifices I made that ultimately were not worth it. I altogether stopped using the common area, so I would not no longer deal with him, and even if it was midnight, I would simply walk out of the house to avoid the aggressive homeless people outside and use the bathroom at the gas station across the street if I needed to go. Smack! That is, for God's sakes, man. You gotta man the hell up there. Some guy's being a jerk off about things, tell him to go fuck himself. I would shower at the local gym if I needed a shower. How is there not people in your life, your family, your friends telling you you're out of your freaking mind? Dude, if you were my brother or a cousin or a friend, I'd be staging an intervention, for God's sakes. Well, life in this city was very hard on multiple occasions. I had things stolen from me. I had a few times when my room itself was broken into and valuables taken. When I would confront the property owner, he would simply tell me there's nothing he could do. In juxtaposition to my former living conditions, life was so good before I moved there, and I did not realize how good it was to be living in a safe community and in a house where I knew my valuables would not be stolen. Okay, enough of the rambling about the living situations, and back to Sophia. All this. It'd be one thing if you were enduring all this stuff and this girl was physically beautiful and hooking up with you and even treated you well. But there's nothing about this relationship with this girl that's worth any of this shit. I mean, nothing would be worth the shit, but you get the point. Again, he had obviously scarcity mindset, thought he wasn't worth anything, never had a girlfriend, nobody to teach him. I would often tell Sophia how difficult my life was living there, and I was beginning to drain my finances. I had to start eating like a broke college kid, which I never experienced in my life. I'd never been one to waste money, and so even with my very conservative spending, it was getting difficult to keep up. When I told her how difficult everything was, including the job, since many people were quitting, I had to take more and more roles that was not being paid for extra. She'd get angry and tell me that I had to be a man and just get through it. I had a postgraduate degree and was living in horrible conditions. Dude, you had to suffer. You had to suffer through this for you to wake up and learn. And ultimately, you do learn. And somebody will learn from your story here. And of course, she has to tell you, you got to be a man. Does this bitch have a job anytime? And by the way, who's paying for her freaking Kentucky Fried Chicken, making her big ass bigger? There were several times when I would meet her and we would go to a restaurant and she would complain that I was extremely frugal and would not spend money on her. Bitch, you get out your freaking credit card. She deserved the princess treatment, according to her, and she grew increasingly hostile, critical, and demanding. Arguments became constant. She monitored my time, became angry if I spoke to friends, and accused me of neglect if I was not at work. and did not answer the phone when she called, she would freak out. Total narcissist, total control freak. She's perfect and everything's right about her and everything about you is wrong. And you were so worn down. You were so pushed down to destroy. You had Stockholm syndrome for her. And notice how she's trying to push you away from your friends and family who would tell you that she's fucking crazy. Having a little bit of space to myself classified as neglect. I later learned that since she had no one else to talk to, she had so much free time and she would always just reach out since she had nothing better to do. Yeah, nobody else wants her. Why do you want her? At one point when we were together, she started once again accusing me of not doing anything for her. At that point, I had enough and my usual calm demeanor went away. I raised my voice and told her that everything I did for her and the life I had before was much better. I told her, shut her mouth and listen for once. Well, good for you. It's about time. Now leave. I told her I would not tolerate her treating me the way she did. I reminded her how I declined an amazing opportunity to be closer to her, and still that was not enough for her. Of course it wasn't, because it's all about her. The funny thing is, by you doing all these things, made her have even less respect for you and treating you worse. Do you notice this? After all that, she began to cry and told me I reminded her of her abusive, manipulative ex. I eventually caved and apologized to her. Smack! At this point, I think I need like a freaking weapon, like a baseball bat or something. Yeah, she cried. You apologized to her. Look how she's treating you. My God, man, she's a pro. The next following months, she would continue to bring up marriage and how she feels as though I'm not doing enough and taking this seriously. She, in her own words, that she had baby fever and wanted to have children soon. I then mentioned wanting a prenup agreement, and she agreed to only use that a few months later to say I'm not genuine for requesting that, and that I was stupid. It was a stupid piece of paper. This broad should never breed. I had not seen my family and friends for a bit and wanted to go see them. When I mentioned I wanted to visit them, she told me that I did not ask her for permission and accused me of abandoning her simply for visiting my family. Total narcissist. Narcissists typically isolate their victims, so that said victim, like you, she is all you had, that type of thing, so you stay with her. That's what they do. Either they fucking read a book on this shit, or they just instinctively are programmed that way. I don't know. I've known some people like this in my life. I finally stood up for myself and just went to see my family regardless. About fucking time, dude. Good for you. 2 days later, she ended the relationship over the phone. Hey, wonderful. Claiming that her anxiety and her unhappiness, and I wish I just accepted it and moved on. But instead, I begged for her back like the little bitch I was at the time, and I apologized. Smack, smack, smack. Bro, I did shoulders yesterday. My arms are getting sore from smacking you, so I'm glad you're going to start manning the fuck up pretty soon here. Damn, I should have brought my cat Tucker to sit on my lap when I'm doing the video in the car. His ass would be smacking with his little white paws. God damn it. She told me I had to drop the idea of the prenup, and I agreed. After that, she happily told me she does not want to break up, and she loved me, and she really wants to get married soon. Oh, how convenient after you decided not to do the prenup. Not long afterwards, I began to notice her texting another man when we would hang out on the weekend. Notice how he keeps acting like a bitch, and her levels of respect for him, like not that she had any, keep getting lower and lower. So more and more disrespect. Except you should be happy she's talking to another man. You'd be like, hey, you can have her. She claimed he was just a friend. And when I suggested reconnecting with a former female classmate, she accused me of cheating. I asked her how would that be cheating if this former classmate was just a friend. I told her she was a hypocrite. She got very upset by that, and during the week, when I was back at work, in the evenings, things seemed off when we would talk on the phone, and I knew that it was only a matter of time before something would erupt. Oh yeah, again, what a great relationship. She kept telling me over the phone how insecure I was and that I was disgusting for suggesting I wanted to call a former classmate that happened to be a female. I really did not actually want to call her, but said that to see how she'd react. She called me a narcissist and told me I was controlling. The narcissist is calling you a narcissist. The never-ending gaslighting and deflection and all this other stuff. Takes one to know one, asshole. That weekend, I decided to go back to visit my old friends, and once again on the phone, she called me a narcissist and only caring about my dumb friends. She said that I was the reason she had anxiety, and it was affecting her negativity. She again told me that I did not ask her for permission to visit these friends, and she did not approve. I then asked her if she ever asked permission to get fat, to which I definitely did not approve. That's awesome, man. Good for you. Now she's going to lose it. We're hanging there, guys. Our guy's going to redeem himself. I got to do one of these awful stories every now and again, guys, because it's important. So you don't act like him. Well, she hung up the phone on me, and I knew we were essentially over. I reached my hometown a few hours later, and even though it was midnight, I called some friends and asked them if they wanted to go hang out with me in the mountains. They agreed, and we spent a few days looking at the stars, drinking, and just relaxing. I'm not much of a drinker, but that night, that bottle hit differently. Yeah, that chick would drive me to drinking, too. It was the first time in a long time that I did not feel any stress and just enjoyed the company. Don't worry, I had a designated driver at the end of the night. Dude, I believe you. Hanging out with your buddies, out in nature, gives you some perspective. Well, the next day, she messaged me that we needed to talk. I told her that I was really busy and she had to wait. Oh, now you're really acting out of character. This is going to set her off. She then told me again over text, I did not prioritize her. I told her I was extremely busy that day and she could wait. A few hours later, I did end up calling her back and she answered and told me that she was not mad at me and this call was very important to her. She told me that I caused her incredible stress and that it was affecting her in every aspect of her life. Yeah, because of her wonderful life, but that she does nothing. She kept going on how I was the reason her life was so bad and she just wants to be happy. This chick is incapable of being happy. She ain't happy unless she's miserable and making other people miserable like you. I then interrupted and told her that I really did not have the time for this and that I was really busy and to hurry up. So obviously you're done at this point. She then said that she doesn't know what to do, and I once again reminded her that I was busy and she just needed to get to the point. Whatever she wanted to say, I asked her to say it and then leave me alone. She then says she wants to break up, and I responded with, okay, well, I'm going to go now. I'm busy today. She then interrupted me and told me, is this how you really want to end in a phone call? To which I responded, yes, you say what you had to say. She then told me that she does not want me to leave this phone call thinking that she never loved me, because she really did. Before she could say more, I told her I wish her the best, and I hung up on her. Thank God. Holy fucking shit. We had 25 minutes in the last video and 12 minutes in this video to get to this point. Hallelujah. Brother, all that suffering you went through when it was as clear as day. Man, oh man, I hope you've learned from this. I did not know how to feel, and I just continued with what I did earlier. I did feel devastated later in the evening after that, and it took me a few good months to get over her. Get over her? Well, more like it's because it's all you knew. That's the point. You thought this is normal. This is not normal. I found that being out in nature and walking by myself helped me clear my mind, so I would do whatever I had to do and had the chance. About 3 months later, I learned she had recently gotten married. Whoa! That poor dumb bastard that married her. Well, she's his problem. It turns out they became engaged just 1 week or two after our breakup. It then became clear she had moved on long before ending things with me. Well, no kidding, of course she's cheating on you. When I heard all this, I did feel relieved and glad that now I knew that despite everything she called me, she was cheating the whole time. And by the way, she married that friend that she was texting when we were hanging out. Of course, we could all see where that was going. I don't know, maybe he's the manager of McDonald's and gives her free food. I don't know, but fine. I realized then that she never really actually cared about me and was probably just bored or waiting for this new sucker that she married to ask her out. In hindsight, I see how fortunate I was to escape before marriage. Bro, you were fortunate. My God. Thank God for your friends and getting out and all that. But look at all the suffering you went through. Look at all the time you wasted. Look, all the money you could have made at the other job and the happiness you had. But if it took you to go through all this to learn something, okay, it was a tough lesson. Shout out to whatever man that she is married to. If I ever hear of you, I want to tell you that I'm absolutely grateful for what you did. Shout out to the stranger who took one for the team. He's ultimately here in the story. Not all heroes wear capes. Well, he's not a hero. He just got her out of your life. Because otherwise she would have kept calling you and you may have fallen for her BS again. While my friend's reaction to the breakup was positive and almost all of them did not like her and were surprised I was with someone who treated me the way she did and did not even look good and called her a 2 out of 10. My good friend joked about that previous relationship and told me several times, damn, you did all you could for some used pussy, and he was not wrong. I did swoop pretty low for someone who was not worth it all. Best of all, my car no longer smelled terrible. So were your bros telling you this all along, or were they just keeping quiet until the end? Good friends will tell you what you want, what you need to hear, but didn't want to hear. God damn, dude. Well, the last I heard, this new couple live in a rundown part of town in some Section 8 government-subsidized housing, and she lost her job. Subsidized housing, huh? So taxpayers like us are helping paying for her ass. Great. For myself, I ended up living in the city by the bay for a few more years before moving back to the States, to my state. While there, eventually the two criminals were evicted when the homeowner started having her own stuff stolen by them and when they demanded things from her. I can't believe after that you stayed in San Francisco. What the fuck? The guy I used to share the bathroom with started demanding that she cleans the bathroom and that it was unacceptable the living conditions that he was in. That, of course, he created. Life did get better, and I started making friends and would spend time with them throughout the week. Life was still hard, but it had gotten better, and I had goals to leave eventually, which motivated me to get through those last remaining months before moving back. I don't know why I didn't just leave down and there, but maybe he had a lease. Probably he had to secure a new job or something. I don't know. Now that I'm back in my state, I'm no longer in contact with that pastor who pushed me and essentially told me that she was the best I could get at. I would certainly hope he had nothing to do with that guy, but ultimately as a grown-ass man in your early to mid-20s, you made that choice. He didn't make you date her. But I get how an inexperienced young guy who's religious is going to take the word of a pastor like it's come from heaven itself. Big mistake. Your gut told you all along it was a bad idea. Relationships is not his department. The Bible is. I do not need this nonsense anymore in my life. If it were not for him, it is unlikely that I would have entered this relationship. I learned what I had to do, and I am now done. Today, I'm once again focused on myself first and foremost. There you go. My career and my goals. This experience taught me some invaluable lessons. My advice to others are the following. Now, you're not quite in a place to give advice, my friend, but you are in a place to say, here's where I screwed up, don't do it like me, but you're getting there. He says here, never uproot your life and move thousands of miles for someone who hasn't earned it. I've been saying that forever, but I add to that saying, the man shouldn't move for the woman. Make her come to you. Or you both go to a place that you both agree upon. Never go to her turf. It's a bad idea. Next one, pick up the red flags. Do not get into a relationship after a few weeks of seeing someone. Absolutely. That's why I tell you wait months, sometimes 6 months to get to know someone. Never rush anything. If something seems off, just go and save yourself the time, energy, emotions. It's not worth it. In other words, trust your gut. And I'll throw another one in there. Again, how young guys like you need a true good mentor. But it can be hard because there's a lot of guys that don't have a fucking clue, but they think they know everything. And of course, your purpose comes before passion. Your purpose comes before girls and relationships and all that. With that being said, thank you, SSM, for taking the time to read my story, and I wish you all, as well as the audience, a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Damn right, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We say Merry Christmas on here, and if anybody gets offended, go to some other woke channel or something like that. Thanks to the channel for what you do, this community. I hope others can learn from my mistakes so they do not do the same. Oh, plenty of guys are learning something from this video, my friend. Well, I'm glad you are now in a place that you are now back to where you're back home in your home state and your friends and family. Obviously, a job that you like, much better conditions. Good. And I truly hope you've learned. If you've learned from all this, then okay, you went through hell. And down the road, you'll be telling people about this, and you know, it was horrible, but you learned. But my God, dude, don't ever do that again. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. You follow the advice that you just shared there. You need to have a lot more accomplishments and achievements and turning into a boss, basically, before you can start giving real advice. But you can definitely give warnings based on your screw-ups. And the thing is this, is that you were young, you know, early 20s when this all went down. I'm guessing you're now late 20s, mid to late 20s now. Maybe you're 26, 27. If you had done this later in life, I'd really be tough on you. But anyhow, focus on yourself, focus on your goals, your ambitions, all that. Do not take advice from people that don't know what the hell they're talking about. Your pastor did not know what he was talking about. He has his area, And there were other areas. And in relationships, particularly the 2020s, ain't his area. End of story. And this girl was awful. And I want you to really dig down to try to figure out why it was you got so attached to her. What was the deal there? I'm going to guess, again, your first relationship. Probably, I'm going to guess you were a virgin, never had any before. And if that's your business, that's okay. If that's what you want, that's fine. And really, before you get any relationship in the future, because I know you're a relationship guy, you take your time getting to know the girl. Now, if that girl's trying to push you to do things quicker than you want, get out. I don't care if you feel lonely. I don't care if you feel a connection to her and stuff like that. No, trust your instincts. Trust your gut. It's there. It's the Lord speaking to you, if you will. Somebody's speaking to you. There were signs from him. He was looking out for you. You're a religious guy, except you listened to the wrong ones. And you had the freaking devil. Yeah, what's her name was the fucking devil that you were with. My God, a smelly devil and a fat devil. But anyway, she's some other asshole's problem. But do not be surprised if one day you hear from her. I guarantee you she's going to reach out because they always come back. And, oh my God, I hope you've learned. And nothing to do with her. So, good job. I'm glad it ended on a high note and you have an opportunity. Make something of this life. Really. And hopefully one day you share this story not just with people on this channel, but someone in your life, and you can mentor them. But you got to have more achievements before you can start really giving out solid advice. But I wish you the best. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you got a good story to share, or a question you want to ask me, or a good article you want me to roast, send it my way, strongsuccessfulmail@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.